Welcome back to the Pat Flynn Show, everybody. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. I had a very good weekend. In fact, I'll tell you about that in a minute. We are going to talk about the 21-minute kettlebell workout. I have a new creation for you that I want to share with you. I think you're going to love it. I'm going to talk you through this kettlebell routine, this highly efficient total body strength, conditioning, and mobility workout. This is one of those routines where you just sort of accomplish so much in one single workout. I'm excited to share it with you. Before we do, let me say that this is part of Strong On Free Week. So every year at the anniversary of Strong On, which is our sort of premier minimalist kettlebell programming membership site, we share a week of high intensity fat stripping kettlebell workouts. And this is the second one I'm sharing on the podcast. People who are on my email list get a full 7 days worth of programming. And I've already shared this routine to my email list, but I wanted to go a little bit deeper into the theory behind it. I'm going to talk you through the entire 21-minute workout. There's a fair amount here. So even though it's very efficient, there's a number of nuances that I want to point out and make sure that we pay attention to. And yeah, let me just start off with a few announcements. First off, great to have you. If you're tuning into the live stream, let me know what you're drinking in the comment section. I am once again running on Dunkin'. For whatever reason, we just have the Dunkin' Donuts, the giant thing of Dunkin' Donuts coffee from Costco is that's what's in my cup. Gets the job done. And yeah, okay. Before we dive in, real quick, if you like these routines and you want all the rest of the Strong On workouts from Free Week, you can get them absolutely free just by getting on my email list. One of the best ways to do that would be to go to the website chroniclesofstrength.com/challenge workouts. That will allow you to download 11 awesome high-intensity kettlebell workouts. So put you on my email list, and you'll get the rest of the Strong On Free Week workout. So if you like this and you want more, head there, chroniclesofstrength.com/challenge workouts. And if you want to also check out Strong On, if you want to either become a member or upgrade your membership, right now is the all-time absolute best time to do that. We are doing our big anniversary sale. So we've got huge discounts on the different levels of membership, monthly, annual, and even lifetime. We have a lifetime membership option, which means you can be a Strong On member until either my life or your life expires. It's a race to the finish. You got to love it. Tons of bonuses. So check that out at chroniclesofstrength.com/Strong On Mega Sale. That's chroniclesofstrength.com/Strong On Mega Sale. We'll talk a little bit about that more at the end. I also have a really good question I want to answer in this podcast too. We're going to try and cram a lot in, but let me hear from you in the comments and let's start talking about this workout. I'm inspired. This is a warrior workout. It's here's a sneak peek. If you're just listening, don't worry. I'm going to talk through the whole thing, but here it is on the screen. It's a 21-minute workout. The workout itself has 6 different phases or sections. And the cool thing about this workout is it's one giant complex where we are stringing together multiple exercises. And we're actually using single and double kettlebell exercises. So this is a really cool kettlebell workout because it's going to have a lot of single kettlebell action, but towards the middle of the routine, you're going to have the option to bring in double kettlebells. So like I said, this is one of those workouts where you can train strength, conditioning, power, mobility, all in the same routine. You don't need separate routines. So this is to me, this is just a great example of the sort of efficiency that you get with Strong On workout programming. This is a warrior workout. This is a full body conditioning workout. And speaking of warrior workouts, talking about the weekend, did anybody see the fight this weekend? The Fury versus Wilder fight. Did anybody else watch that? I don't follow boxing super close, but I decided to get the pay-per-view. My wife and I watched it. Easily one of the best boxing matches I've ever seen. One of the best sporting events I've ever seen. Just a tremendous match between these two guys. I guess most of you probably have already heard the results, but man, that was awesome. That was an incredible bout. Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King. What an awesome guy. What an awesome fight that was. Just on the edge of your seat the entire time. Man. Anyway, I'm makes me just, I've been a martial artist for most of my life. I've never been much of a boxer. I did a couple of years of bare knuckle boxing. And in fact, my bare knuckle boxing coach was one of my first kettlebell coaches. And some of the ideas in this workout are borrowed from the types of ideas that he would have us do for our conditioning in the bare knuckle boxing class. So specifically, once we get into this workout, you'll see that we move from often very explosive, kind of hard-hitting power movements, and then we get into a really tight clinch where it's hard to breathe. This is a conditioning move that he loved to have us do to just mimic the stresses that you would find in various combative sports. A lot of explosive work, hitting, punching, striking. You're clinching up. It's hard to breathe. You got to stay tight. My old bare knuckle boxing coach, Brian Petty, God rest him, passed away a number of years ago. Just was always so creative and so smart in how he would program and structure his workouts to mimic the rigors of combative sports. So you're going to get a taste of that. There's a lot of Brian Petty influence in this workout. It's a Warriors workout. So let's talk through it. Then we'll take your questions at the end. Like I said, I have another question that I want to get through that I saved from a previous episode I think is good. So if you can see this, awesome. If not, I will share the entire image over at chroniclesofstrength.com. Afterwards, you can just download it. You can print it out. You can put it on your fridge. You can frame it. You can do whatever you want. So this is a workout that includes the warm-up. That's the cool thing about this. The warm-up is the workout, at least part of it. So you don't need to do a whole bunch of stuff before. Of course, if you feel like you need some extra prep, go for it. But this 21-minute workout is nobody, please. I have my 9-minute workout. Somebody once asked me sincerely, how long is the 9-minute workout? I'm not going to answer that question. I refuse. There is a line that cannot be crossed when it comes to the minimum quality a question has to be. So this is a 21-minute workout, as the name implies. And it comes in 6 phases. So the best way to see what's going on here is just to talk through it. So let's begin with phase 1. So the first 5 minutes of this workout are active warm-up and mobility. And you're going to start with just 2 minutes of crawling. You're going to start with some groundwork. Groundwork is really important. These neurodevelopmental patterns, they just help turn everything on. They help mobilize you where you need to be mobilized. They help stabilize you where you need to be stabilized. I just want you on the ground crawling for 2 minutes consecutively. And I would encourage you to vary the crawling patterns. So maybe you start with bear crawls. That's where your butt's high. Maybe you do some leopard crawls where your butt's low, knees are close to the ground. Crawl forward, crawl backwards, crawl diagonal. Just be on the ground crawling. You can flip it over, do some crab crawls, but I want 2 minutes of consecutive crawling. Okay. And you can vary it up as much as you want of the types of patterns, but just 2 minutes straight of crawling. After that, let me make the image larger. You're going to go into 3 minutes of light get-ups. We know the get-up is just one of the best overall mobilizing exercises. It just turns everything on. So once you're done with 2 minutes of crawling, immediately you're going into get-ups. I would say, anywhere between like an 8 to 16 kilogram kettlebell is going to be good for this. Relatively light. You're just trying to move quickly at this point and get everything turned on. So 3 minutes of get-ups, as many quality reps as you can get in that time. For a total 5-minute warm-up block. That's phase 1 of the workout, crawling and get-ups. If you want a minimalist warm-up routine, people are always asking me, what's a minimalist warm-up routine? Phase 1 of this workout is it. Between 2 minutes of crawling and 3 minutes of light get-ups, you're going to pretty much activate everything you need, get the blood where it needs to go, get your heart rate up, get all the muscles on, lubricate the joints. This is highly efficient. And your heart rate's going to get up. You're going to be burning a good amount of calories here too. All right, phase 2 is where we turn up the heat. We're starting to crank the intensity. We're going to go into a single kettlebell complex. Very simple, but let me explain it. It's going to be 30 seconds of the following exercises on both sides, right? So you're going to do 30 seconds of one-arm swings, right and left, 30 seconds of clean and press, right and left, 30 seconds of snatch, right and left, 30 seconds of squat, that's single arm squat, right and left, 30 seconds of lunge, right and left, and 30 seconds of windmill, right and left. So all in all, that's going to be 6 minutes of work, 30 seconds of each of those exercises on the right and the left. So it's really a minute per exercise, and you have 6 exercises. So this is a 6-minute phase of this workout. And now we've really cranked the intensity. We're training power. It's great conditioning. Everything at this point should just be fully activated. You should be getting pretty pumped up, a little bit tired. You're going to be a little bit smoked at this point. You're going to be taxing multiple muscle groups and energy systems, but you're not going to be working to complete exhaustion or fatigue. So this will set us up for the sort of heaviest part of the workout, phase 3 of the workout. And real quick, if there's any questions, just drop them in the comments. I'll clarify at the end. But I'm just going to keep storming through this thing, and then we'll jam once I'm through. So phase 3 now is the option where you can go from single to double kettlebells within the workout. And I would encourage you to move to two kettlebells if you have it. But we're going to stick with a 30-second rep scheme. And now we're going to do 30 seconds of the following exercises. Now, remember, this is all continuous. So I want you flowing throughout this entire workout. I don't want you adding, unless you absolutely need to maintain good technique. I don't want you adding any additional rest between exercises or between phases or between sets or any of it. So the idea is to like get all this done in 21 minutes. That's the goal. So phase 3 is this 30 seconds of deadlift, followed by 30 seconds of double clean and seesaw press. So that's where you clean it up, you press right, and then as your right hand comes down, your left hand goes up. So there's a seesaw alternating pressing pattern. 30 seconds of that, 30 seconds of front squats, and then 30 seconds of bent over row. So that's going to all together, you're going to repeat that for 4 minutes. So a lot of work in a little bit of time, and you're going to go for double kettlebells there. And you might even want to pump the weight up. So I would say probably, maybe around like 24 to 28 kilogram kettlebells for most men, around 12 to 16 kilogram kettlebells for most women. That phase 3 is where I want you to kind of really push the intensity in terms of the load with this. Now, here's what I was talking about before with my old coach, Brian Petty, where we go from these sort of heavier, harder efforts into a static clinch, because the phase 4 of this workout is where we go into the static, more isometric phase. So right after you're done with phase 3, you're going to hit 60 seconds of rack holds. Now, the rack hold, for those of you who don't remember, is where you just take 2 kettlebells, relatively heavy, you put them in the rack, which is the starting position of the press. You brace your abs, you squeeze your glutes, and it's like a standing plank. That's the best way. It's a standing plank with kettlebells. That's what a rack hold is, right? A lot of weight on your, right out in front of you. So you got to stabilize that. Abs are tight. You're going to be wanting to breathe very heavy. You're going to want to panic breathe at this point. But what you have to do is control your breathing. So you have to, my coach Brian would always say, you have to learn to breathe behind the shield. So you have to learn to kind of like sip air through your nose, just sip a little bit of air into your stomach, deep diaphragmatic breathing, sipping air, control your breathing, control your heart rate. Going to be very tough, right? Because we just came through 3 pretty intense phases, and now we're putting a bunch of weight on our chest, and we're really tight. So there's going to be a lot of fatigue. There's a lot of mental toughness involved here. So you gotta have grit to do this. And I want you to go heavy with this. Now, once you're done with 60-second rack hold, that's significant. 24 kilograms in a rack for 60 seconds is significant on its own. Following that on top of what came before is very significant. You're going to drop it after 60 seconds. Then you're going to hold a 2-minute plank. That itself is a test of fortitude. A 2-minute plank on your hands, everything tight. Again, you're going to be very fatigued, but you got to get it done, right? This is a challenge workout. This isn't supposed to be easy. Now, of course, if your technique starts to go bad, you can add additional rest. But the goal, the standard here, is to get through this entire thing without adding any additional rest. With me so far? Give me a grunt of acknowledgement in the comments if you're following along. I hope this is clear, right? So we can see how we're already blending strength and power and conditioning and stability and mobility, and we're just kind of switching between various muscle groups and energy systems. So this really is something of a warrior's workout here. All right, phase 5, we're going back to more dynamic conditioning, a little bit lighter in intensity. We're going to do 60 seconds of start-stop swings. So the start-stop swing is where you park the kettlebell between every rep. By the way, if you're unfamiliar with any of these exercises, I have demonstrations and tutorials of all of them on my YouTube. So if you don't know what a start-stop swing is, if you've ever seen that, just search on YouTube, Pat Flynn start-stop swing. It will pop right up. You'll find a demo of it. So just know that those resources are there. 60 seconds of that, as many quality reps as possible. Then you're going to do 60 seconds of the kettlebell swing burpee. Again, this is on my YouTube channel if you need a demo, but it's very simple. The swing burpee is you perform a swing, you park the kettlebell, you sprawl, preferably to the side, come into a plank position, full push-up, finish the push-up, hop back up, perform another swing. So it's a sort of low-impact burpee. Kettlebell swing, sprawl, push-up, hop back up into a kettlebell swing, incredible conditioning move. You have the level changes, which we know and love because of their inherent intensity. Dan John, obviously a big fan of level changes. So you have 2 solid minutes of some serious conditioning there coming out of a pretty difficult static phase. All right, last one. Finally, we're home free at this point. This is phase 6 of the 21-minute workout. If you've been counting, this will bring us up to a full 21 minutes. This is the sort of active cool down mobility phase. And now we're going to switch to 30 seconds each of single leg deadlifts and kettlebell halos, right? So you'll do 30 seconds each on both sides. So 30 seconds right and left of the single leg deadlift, that's 1 minute, and then 30 seconds right and left each directions of the kettlebell halo to just finish with some good mobility, flexibility work there as well. So that's it. In summary, my friends, that is the 21-minute workout. Single kettlebell complex, strength, conditioning, power, mobility, flexibility, all in one routine. You're going to have a tremendous sweat. One time through that is enough. Believe me, one time through that is a perfectly sufficient routine. If you do it twice, you are a madman, my friend. You are a madman. So let me know what questions or comments you have about that. I'm going to pull this off the screen for now. Let me again reiterate that I will have that routine available, the whole image of it, over at chroniclesofstrength.com after this. If you want, you can get even more free workouts over at chroniclesofstrength.com/challenge workouts. That'll give you 11 high-intensity challenge-based kettlebell workouts like this one. It'll get you on my email list, and then you'll get the rest of the Strong On free week routines. If this is a Strong On workout, by the way. So this is just kind of plucked from Strong On programming. And as you know, we're having our 4th anniversary sale right now. Lot of great discounts and bonuses being given away. So if you want to check that out, head over to chroniclesofstrength.com/StrongOn mega sale. That's ending this week. So please have a look at that if you haven't already, because there is no better time than now to become a Strong On member or to upgrade your membership. Just go to that page and you'll see all the awesome discounts and bonuses we're giving away. chroniclesofstrength.com/StrongOn mega sale. Okay. I had Callum says, talking about Strong, how was Fury? So Callum, you must have came in late. I already talked a little bit about the Fury fight. Man, it was amazing. I said that this was probably in fact, I think I'm willing to say this was the best boxing match I have ever seen. It was one of those matches where it could have gone either way, any round. And in fact, there were multiple times when, so my wife was watching with me. She was jumping up and down on the couch the entire time. She was so into it and so just filled with nervous energy. I mean, we were both rooting for Fury, but Wilder's just got he's got that right hand, which is just an eraser, right? Just like one hit, right? One good hit from Wilder and it's done. It just erases everything. It obliterates what it touches. And so Fury was bringing the heat to Wilder multiple times, but you knew he still had to be careful, because even when Wilder's he's looking wobbly, he's still really, really dangerous. And he got 2 knockdowns on Fury. And I thought that was going to be it for Fury, but Fury got back up and then he got the knockout. What was it? Round 11. And he just nailed that right hook on Wilder. And that was when just the darkness consumed the poor guy and just lights out. And just what an incredible bout. I rarely get pay-per-views for sporting events, but this one I think was totally worth it. And what heart, what grit both of those guys showed. I mean, just an incredible athletic contest. And just the technical precision and the skill that Fury has is just, it blows my mind. We have this dude that is just enormous. And the way he moves, it's like he's in the Matrix, that guy. It's incredible watching him to appreciate it as an art, right? The man is such a technician. Now, Wilder's a technician too, but mostly people are just worried about that right hand of his. But Fury is just an absolute artist, just incredible. I don't know if you watched the fight or not, and now you kind of know the results. So sorry if those were spoilers, but I imagine most people caught the highlights at this point anyways. Well worth the pay-per-view, well worth Grandpa staying up past his bedtime. And I was saying I was kind of inspired by that fight and this workout that I was sharing here, this warrior workout. It blends elements, certain conditioning elements and strategies that my old boxing coach Brian Petty used to use to get our sorry butts into shape. For just he coached all sorts of different martial arts, but he focused on bare knuckle boxing. So he was always trying to mimic the rigors of fighting and rounds with the kettlebell training. So it relates to the workout. There's a connection there. Okay, let me take one question, guys. We'll switch gears here before we wrap up. This was a question that came in. I thought it was a good one. If any of you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments too. As always, we'll be doing more Q&A later in the week. I like these Monday episodes to be practical, something that you guys can just take and use and get awesome results with. But there was a question that came in on the video Jim and I did. We did a Q&A last week. I thought it was a really good one. So let me pull it up here on my phone. This comes from Vivo Cristo Ray, and he says this. I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to answer the question. I think this is going to be helpful to a lot of you. It's sort of a basics question. I love basics questions, right? He says, Mr. Flynn, I began to watch you for your philosophy content. After reading The Republic and watching your intro video to fitness, I feel compelled to become the best version of myself in my body as well as my mind. I am a 6 foot tall, 20-year-old who is skin and bones. What diet and exercise do I need to begin in order to live a healthier life and get physically fit? I am completely new to this. No idea what any of the proper nouns in the field are. I want to learn, but know nothing. What can you recommend? Awesome question. And that's why I wanted to spend some time on it. First off, let me say that this really inspires me. I love when I see comments and questions like this, when somebody comes in to the Pat Flynn Show for one thing and they stay for other things. So I get a lot of comments and emails like this of people who say, hey, I came for the fitness stuff and then I was really interested in some of the philosophy content. So that's cool. Or vice versa here, came for the philosophy content. Now I'm interested in the fitness stuff. This is a generalist channel. And, people, you can take whatever you want. You can leave whatever you want. But of course, I promote generalism. And so I hope that no matter what brings you in, I hope you explore some of the other stuff we have on this channel. And YouTube hates what I do. They hate when you mix content. So I have created a new channel just for more philosophy content called Philosophy for the People. So let me say that. And there will be more exclusive philosophy content over there. But there will always be somewhat of a mix here. All right, to our gentle listeners' question. Totally new, bare bones. Let me give you some general ideas of how to get started when you know just nothing, like you said, when it comes to fitness. Here's what I wish I would have known starting out. First off, you already saw the episode I did with Jim on how to get started with fitness. So that's a great resource. I would recommend rewatching that because we really did cover some of the basics. But let me say this. There's certain fundamentals when it comes to exercise and nutrition that I think of are sort of guardrails that as long as you stay within these guardrails, you're going to do well. And you can use these as ways of sort of sniffing out BS. There's a lot of BS in the fitness industry. If something is like outside of these guardrails, I'm always skeptical of it, right? Because we just know through many decades of research and just common sense and experience that there's certain principles and fundamentals that need to be in place for you to get results. So if you want to start being healthier, let's talk diet first. What are some of the basic principles of healthy eating? I think there's probably around 5 that we should come up with here, right? Number 1 is that you want to stay away from, limit, or even eliminate hyper palatable foods, right? What are hyper palatable foods? Well, they're sort of a lot of what you find in the standard American diet. I describe them as foods that answer to the slogan, you can't eat just one. They tend to be fatty and salty and sweet, potato chips, pizza, stuff like this. They have a lot of calories, not a whole lot of nutritional usefulness, and they don't tend to be very satiating, right? So you can pack in a lot. You often don't feel very full, and in fact, they often sort of stimulate further cravings, Oreos, this sort of thing. So as far as possible, if not entirely, you just want to get that food out of your diet. It just doesn't do anything for you. I think it messes with you psychologically, gets you in a sort of it just makes you crave it makes you crave more of that type of stuff. It's calorically junk. and there's very little nutritional benefit to it. So you just want to get all that crap out of your diet. And what should you focus on instead? Well, you should focus on lean protein. We know when it comes to health and weight loss, one of the hinge factors is protein consumption. So if nothing else, get your protein up. And there's a couple of ways you can do this. I think the easiest way to do it is just supplement with meal replacement shakes, protein shakes. So just having a good quality protein on hand, like a basic whey protein, is an easy way to do this. Of course, you can grill up a piece of salmon or chicken. That's fine. But the question here is young, you're busy. I'm busy. People are busy. So I think an important aspect of fitness and healthy living is that you make it convenient for yourself. You lower barriers to entry. So for me, often my first meal of the day, which I haven't even had yet, will just be a protein shake. Simple as that. Protein shake. So limit or eliminate hyperpalatable foods, increase protein. And after increasing protein, we want to focus on foods that are relatively unprocessed and close to nature. What does that mean? Well, it means fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, healthy fats, nuts, seeds, salads, preferably mostly lean meats. Some fatty meat is okay, but I do like to encourage people to stay mostly on the leaner side. Chicken, turkey, salmon, this sort of thing. Um, you know, not enormous ingredient lists. These are good policies, right? So foods that are relatively unprocessed and close to nature, oatmeal, all that sort of, like, we kind of know what this stuff is, right? I don't think when we look at the different diets, paleo diets, Mediterranean diets, keto diets, right? What do they all have in common, or what are some of the things that they mostly have in common when that help to explain why people succeed? Well, they tend to focus on protein, and they tend to eliminate hyperpalatable foods or greatly reduce them, and they tend to focus on foods that are relatively unprocessed and close to nature, right? So these are sort of the shared commonalities between diets that people have success with, okay? Make sure you also focus on caloric control. This is another kind of hinge factor. Now, I say this later. Sometimes people put this first, but I say it later because I think if you have the other elements in place, if you're getting rid of the hyperpalatable foods, if you're increasing your protein and you're focusing on foods that are relatively unprocessed, close to nature, then I think the caloric puzzle is pretty much going to be solved automatically, right? So I don't like to just tell people eat less and move more and get your calories under control. That's true, but it's almost trivially true. It's how to do it. What are the best ways to do it? But it is true that we need a measure of caloric control. But I think if you focus on the other things first, that's going to just sort of be resolved automatically. The last thing I'll say here with the nutrition side is fluctuate your eating intensity, right? So we know in exercise, and I'll talk about this in a minute, that progress doesn't come by just trying to move in like a straight line, right? We need to wave. We need to fluctuate. We need some days that are more intense than others. Some days should be harder workouts. Like some days should be the 21-minute workout that I just shared. But other days should just be a brisk walk or a mobility workout or something like that. I think we need to take the same approach with dieting. We need a cyclical approach to dieting. Some days you should diet harder than others. And what's the best way to do this? Well, I think you do it with various degrees of fasting. So for me, most of the time, I have kind of like 2 days a week that are more intense fasting days. Wednesday, Friday works well for me. I typically won't have my first meal till later in the day. Friday, I don't even have meat. And, on those days, I'll really just kind of have just one healthy meal for the most part, just one healthy meal. So pretty intense. But then I think you also want to have what are called strategic refeed days, where you have 2 days. And there's a study that came out in 2019 that showed that this was a better, more effective way of both losing weight and holding on to lean muscle mass than just traditional caloric restriction, where you have sort of 5 days of, call it, tougher dieting and 2 days of more relaxed dieting, strategic refeed. And really, so like Saturday and Sunday, then for me, I just sort of loosen up a bit. You don't go crazy. You don't go on a bender. You don't eat like a kindergartner. You just increase your calories. You just eat a bit more. And yeah, you can enjoy the occasional indulgence, so have some pizza or something like that. That's fine. Right. But you don't go completely off the rails. So I think you have sort of throughout the week, you eat well, and maybe you have 2 days where you kind of diet more intensely. For me, that's Wednesday and Friday. And then on the weekend, I just relax restrictions a bit. I don't go crazy. I still eat quite healthy overall, but if I want to have burger or pizza, or some ice cream, I'll do that those 2 days. So having the 2 consecutive days of strategic refeed seems to be very helpful. And I went over the research of that in previous episodes. You can look for that, but I'm just giving you the executive summary right now. So that's kind of square one nutrition. Let me summarize: protein, eliminating hyperpalatable foods, focusing on foods that are relatively unprocessed, close to nature, and sort of having a cyclical approach to dieting. Some days are more intense or more difficult than others. Fasting is a good way to accomplish that in combination with strategic refeeds. These are the things I wish I knew starting out square one. All right, exercise. Same thing, right? We want to take a cyclical approach to exercise, right? We don't want to be trying to obliterate ourselves every single day in the gym. And here's what I recommend. I think that most people, most of the time, should engage in resistance training somewhere between 3 to 4 days a week, right? And this means we are using progressive resistance. We're training. You don't have to use weights. You can do this with just your own body weight. But as you know, I think that you should just pick tools that are really good for certain jobs. The kettlebell, to me, is the sort of minimalist ultimate secret weapon. We can train strength, hypertrophy, mobility, conditioning, all with one tool. But of course, if you have access to other equipment, you can use that as well. So 3 to 4 days a week, I think you should just do some traditional full body strength and hypertrophy training, right? What does that mean? It means pick some big compound movements, exercises that have a high degree of neuromuscular facilitation. They're multi-joint movements, things like squatting, pushing, pulling, hinging, carrying, right? So what would be some examples of this? Well, military pressing, pull-ups, front squats, deadlifts, and farmer's carries would be a fine selection, right? And then however there's many ways you can structure this. You could do kind of I'll give you a simple way to think about it. If you're training 4 days a week, you could have an A day and a B day. And the A day would be, something like pushing and hinging. So maybe it's where you focus on military press and deadlift. And a B day could be something like pulling and squatting, where you focus on chin-ups and front squats. And then you can do some auxiliary exercises. And maybe you do 3 sets of 8, maybe you do 4 sets of 12, depending on where you're at. You can structure it in different ways. But the key is you have to challenge yourself. You have to engage in progressive resistance. The key, I would say, to this gentle listener, when it comes to getting stronger and putting on muscle, here's the key, right? Be somewhere between 6 to 8 reps for 3 to 4 sets. Somewhere between 6 to 8 reps for 3 to 4 sets. And use an intensity, this is critical, that is within 2 reps of technical failure. What does that mean? Within 2 reps of technical failure, it means this, right? That means if you're going to do 8 reps, it means use a weight that you could do no more than 10 reps with. I'll say that again. If you decide I'm going to do 8 reps on the front squat or the military press or whatever, to be within 2 reps of technical failure means you would pick a weight where you could do no more than 10 reps until your technique starts to deteriorate. You lose speed or you start to compensate. So that I think is the go-to way to select intensity. Be within 2 reps of technical failure. Okay, so 3 to 4 days a week of good old-fashioned strength and hypertrophy training. Then I think 1 to 2 days a week of just conditioning. What could you do for conditioning? Well, we gave an example in this episode. Something like the 21-minute workout that I shared would be a phenomenal example of a conditioning routine. You could just do old-fashioned interval running. You could do sprinting. You could do sled pushes. The thing with conditioning is you kind of want variety for your conditioning. For strength and muscle, you want more consistency, right? You want the consistency of practice to lay down strength and to build muscle. But when it comes to conditioning, you kind of want more variety. Not completely random or haphazard, but more variety is more useful for conditioning. So 1 to 2 days a week of conditioning. And then what I would say is every single day, just move your body for an extended period of time at a low intensity. Walk, brisk walking, play some recreational sports, whatever. So let me summarize again. 3 to 4 days a week of strength and hypertrophy, 1 to 2 days a week of more high intensity conditioning, and every day some low intensity extended form of movement. I think walking is the easiest go-to option there. So that, my friend, I think is how I would start to answer your question. And hopefully that gives you enough to get started with. And I have tons of resources, and I would encourage you to check them out. And if anybody has any questions about that, you can email me. But now I have to go. I have to go do this workout. So let me remind you guys one more time. If you like what we're doing, you want some more free routines, head over to chroniclesofstrength.com/challenge workouts. And if you're not yet a member of Strong On, please consider joining. Now would be the best time. We've got a ton of discounts, lots of awesome bonus programs over at chroniclesofstrength.com/strong on mega sale. If you're already a member, think about upgrading, because we've got the annual and lifetime memberships available, and that will save you some significant amount of money. Plus, we've got some cool giveaways and bonuses there too. So it supports the show. I don't do the Patreon thing or anything like that. This is the core of my business. So if you like what I'm doing on the podcast, if you want to both support me and get ongoing awesome kettlebell workouts and programming, it's a win-win for all of us. Head over to chroniclesofstrength.com/strong on mega sale. Know that I appreciate you. I hope you guys enjoy this workout. I'm going to go do it right now. And you guys can let me know how it goes in the comment section after you give it a shot. Adios. We'll catch you next time. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.